Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Damato from the Old Camp School. I'm going to read you a chapter today from Frog and Toad All Year. So Frog and Toad is a series of chapter books, and I just love them because I love the two characters, Frog and Toad. They're best friends, but they are very different. As I read you the story, let's see if you can tell some ways that Frog and Toad are different. I am going to show you the pictures as I read the story so you can follow along. All right. So here's the cover of the book, Frog and Toad All Year. And inside there are 5 chapters. The first one is called Down the Hill. And this particular book, it goes through different seasons. So the one we're going to read today takes place in winter. So what are the 4 seasons? The 4 seasons are winter, then we have spring, then we go into summer, and then we have fall or autumn. So this one takes place in winter. It's called Down the Hill. This is a picture of Frog and Toad just hanging out. They are best friends. Down the hill. Frog knocked at Toad's door. "Toad, wake up," he cried. "Come out and see how wonderful the winter is." "I will not," said Toad. "I am in my warm bed." "Winter is beautiful," said Frog. "Come out and have fun." "Blah," said Toad. "I do not have any winter clothes." Frog came into the house. "I have brought you some things to wear," he said. Frog pushed a coat down over the top of Toad. Frog pulled snow pants up over the bottom of Toad. He put a hat and scarf on Toad's head. "Help!" cried Toad. "My best friend is trying to kill me." "I am only trying to get you ready for winter," said Frog. Frog and Toad went outside. They tramped through the snow. "We will ride down this big hill on my sled," said Frog. "Not me," said Toad. "Aw, do not be afraid," said Frog. "I will be with you on the sled. It will be a fine, fast ride. Toad, you sit in front. I will sit right behind you." The sled began to move down the hill. "Here we go," said Frog. And if you look at the sit right behind you, the sled began to move down the hill. "Here we go," said Frog. And if you look at the picture, you can see Toad in the front looks a little bit scared. There was a bump. Frog fell off the sled. Toad rushed past the trees and rocks. "Frog, I am glad that you are here," said Toad. Toad leaped over a snowbank. "I could not steer the sled without you, Frog," he said. "You are right, winter is fun." So right now you can tell that Toad thinks that Frog is still on the back of his sled. But he's not. A crow flew nearby. "Hello, Crow," shouted Toad. "Look at Frog and me. We can ride a sled better than anybody in the world." "But Toad," said the Crow, "you're not alone on that sled." Toad looked around. He saw that Frog was not there. "I am all alone," screamed Toad. Bang! The sled hit a tree. Thud! The sled hit a rock. Plop! The sled dived into the snow. Frog came running down the hill. He pulled Toad out of the snow. "You did very well by yourself." "I did not," said Toad. "But there is one thing that I can do all by myself." "What is that?" asked Frog. "I can go home," said Toad. "Winter may be beautiful, but bed is much better." So that was a really cute story where Frog and Toad went on an adventure to go sledding. So how are Frog and Toad different, even though they're best friends? Well, Frog is kind of positive, he's smart, he likes to solve problems, he's a positive person, or a positive frog. And then you have Toad, the other character. He's kind of afraid of things, he's a little grumpy. At one point in the story, he says, blah, which kind of shows he has kind of a little bit of a negative attitude. But in other chapters, he can also be very silly. Toad is a silly Toad. So I hope you join me next time. I'll read The Corner, and you'll see that this story, or the next chapter, The Corner in this series, is about the springtime. Thanks for watching. Hi guys, it's Mrs. Damato again from the Oldham School. I hope you enjoyed our story last time from Frog and Toad All Year. We learned a little bit about Frog and Toad and how they're best friends. So the first chapter was called Down the Hill, and it took place in winter. Today I'm going to read you Around the Corner. And this one, it's called The Corner. And this one takes place during the spring. So a lot of times with Frog and Toad, there's some kind of misunderstanding or a mix-up in the books. So let's see what the misunderstanding or the mix-up is in this chapter called The Corner. So as I read you the story, I am going to show you the pictures so you can follow along as I read it. Okay, so here we are. Remember, Frog and Toad All Year. It's a chapter book, and the first chapter that we read was Down the Hill, and now we're going to read The Corner, about Frog and Toad, two best friends, and a story that's perfect for springtime. Okay. Frog and Toad were caught in the rain. They ran to Frog's house. I am all wet, said Toad. The day is spoiled. Have some tea and cake, said Frog. The rain will stop. If you stand near the stove, your clothes will soon be dry. I will tell you a story while we are waiting, said Frog. Oh, good, said Toad. When I was small, not much bigger than a pollywog, said Frog, my father said to me, Son, this is a cold gray day, but spring is just around the corner. I wanted spring to come. I went out to find that corner. I walked down a path in the woods until I came to a corner. I went around the corner to see if spring was on the other side. And in the first picture, you can see him looking around a corner. And was it? Asked Toad. No, said Frog. There was only a pine tree, another corner. I went around the corner to look for spring. Was it there? Asked Toad. No, said Frog. There was only some wet mud and a lizard who was chasing his tail. You must have been tired, said Toad. I was tired, said Frog, and it started to rain. I went back home. When I got there, said Frog, I found another corner. It was the corner of my house. Did you go around it? Asked Toad. I went around that corner too, said Frog. What did you see? Asked Toad. Well, I saw the sun coming out, said Frog. I saw birds sitting and singing in a tree. I saw my mother and father working in their garden. I saw flowers in the garden. You found it, cried Toad. Yes, said Frog. I was very happy. I had found the corner that spring was just around. Look, Frog, said Toad. You were right. The rain has stopped. Frog and Toad hurried outside. They ran around the corner of Frog's house to make sure that spring had come again. All right, so that was a cute little story about Frog and Toad and something that they did on a spring day. It was raining outside, so Frog decided to tell Toad a silly story about how he was looking for spring around the corner. So at the beginning I asked you, what was the misunderstanding or the mix-up in this chapter? Well, the corner, of course, means that he was looking for something, looking around corners. He looked around the corner of his house. He looked around the corner of his, in the woods. But actually what it meant when they kept saying that spring was around the corner was just that it was going to happen soon. So right now you can see a lot of signs of spring, just like Frog and Toad. The rain, the flowers are starting to grow in the gardens. It was a cute story. I hope you join me next time for the next chapter in this book. It's called Ice Cream. Thanks for listening.